readily. Where they used to grow here, but they've pretty much been eliminated, and they're the oak trees that have the acorns. We're going to be planting pin oaks today.
Kentucky's wetlands are home to thousands and thousands of plant and animal species that live in its murky waters and grassy shores. But it hasn't always been this case. Approximately 200 years ago, these wetlands existed as farmland used to grow crops and house livestock. And it has only been in recent years that these projects, one just like this, have been taking place to restore these grassy lots to their prior beauty and wooded states.
It was developed at William Suter's farm, right along Highway 36, Menifee County. Look for that monument, like somebody was buried, and there's a brass plaque on it. And yeah, that's where it's developed. It's pretty neat. And I've met people in Canada, and they know the story of Kentucky 31 Rescue, and they ask me if I've ever been to Menifee County. And I say yes, and I've been to the farm.
After the trees were planted, we proceeded to go on to a different parts of the wetland, in which we decided to send a team in to see what they could find in terms of surviving species. We came up with several interesting results.
This is a salamander that requires ephemeral wetlands for breeding. And what I'm talking about here is a salamander that requires wetlands that go through a wet and a dry cycle, because fish eat these, and it can't lay its eggs in wetlands with fish because the fish will eat them. So these wetlands go through a wet and dry cycle, and what you did is you found one of the adults hiding, and it's probably already laid its eggs. So that's pretty cool. Male, really female, cool. You sure that's female? I think it's a female. Could be a female. Pretty good chance of it. And they are big. They are really big. And they start eating each other, and it's a big feeding frenzy. Huh. Wow. This is a tree frog, which means it can climb.
What you got?
Isn't that cool? So spring people, look at the way that thing climbs, you guys, and it's not going to want to stay in there at all.
Any of them eat it?
These spotted salamander eggs can be found everywhere in these ephemeral wetlands, and although we only managed to capture one, there were many, many more that were hiding, as evidenced by the massive quantities of eggs that we sighted that day. And the same goes for the vast quantity of spring peepers that we were able to hear throughout the day, creating a sweet, sweet melody that seemed to fill the trees and the air. We also found a few species of red-spotted newt, the most poisonous newt in all of North America, and even a few true-line salamander. Kentucky's wetlands are home to thousands and thousands of plant and animal species that live in its murky waters and grassy shores. But it hasn't always been this case. It has only been in recent years that these projects, one just like this, have been taking place to restore these grassy lots to their prior beauty and wooded states.